In a small dusty village nestled between rolling hills and endless savanna, lived a girl named Amina. From the moment she first saw a plane streak across the sky, leaving a trail of white against the blue, she knew she wanted to fly. The other children laughed when she said it. The elders shook their heads. Even her own mother, though loving, sighed and said, "Dreams don't fill stomachs, my child." But Amina's heart was set. Every evening, she would sit on the flat rock behind her family's hut, watching the rare airplanes pass overhead, imagining herself in the cockpit, soaring above the clouds. She collected old newspapers, scavenged for books, and taught herself to read just so she could learn about aviation. When a traveling teacher came to the village, she begged him for lessons in mathematics and physics. He was amused at first, then impressed by her determination. Years passed, and the mockery never stopped. "Look, it's the bird who thinks she can fly," the boys would taunt. "Maybe she fall and finally learn her place," the girls whispered. But Amina clenched her fists, swallowed her tears, and kept studying. She worked odd jobs selling fruits at the market, carrying water for neighbors just to save enough money for a bus ticket to the city, where she had heard there was a flying school. At 18, with nothing but a tattered bag and her savings sewn into the hem of her dress, Amina left her village. The city was overwhelming, noisy, crowded, and indifferent. The flying school was even more intimidating. The director, a stern man with a thick mustache, looked her up and down when she arrived. "You want to be a pilot?" he asked, skepticism heavy in his voice. "Yes, sir," Amina said, her voice steady despite her trembling hands. He laughed. "We've never had a girl from the villages before. Do you even know how an engine works?" Amina took a deep breath. Then, to his astonishment, she began explaining the principles of flight, the mechanics of a propeller, the function of ailerons and rudders. The director's amusement faded into surprise, then grudging respect. "Fine," he said, "but you'll have to work twice as hard as anyone else." And she did. The other students, wealthy, city-bred young men, whispered behind her back. The instructors were harsh, testing her relentlessly. But Amina refused to quit. She studied late into the night, practiced simulations until her eyes burned, and volunteered for every extra training session. Then came the day of her first solo flight. Her hands were slick with sweat as she gripped the controls. The engine roared, the plane accelerated, and then she was airborne. The world shrank beneath her, the horizon stretching endlessly. For the first time in her life, Amina felt free, but the road was still long. After earning her license, she faced rejection after rejection from airlines. "We don't hire women pilots," they said, "especially not from nowhere." If you're watching this video till this point,
it means you're enjoying it, and that makes me happy.
So don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe.
That way, you'll never miss our next upload.
Word of inspiration.
Amina's journey teaches us that true strength lies not in where we come from, but in how fiercely we pursue where we want to go.
In a world where expectations are often shaped by tradition,
poverty, and doubt, the courage to dream becomes a revolutionary act.
From the moment she glimpsed an airplane slicing through the sky,
Amina held a vision that soared far beyond the limits of her dusty village.
That vision, though met with laughter,
dismissal, and discouragement, never dimmed.
Instead, it became the fuel that propelled her through hardship,
isolation, and rejection.
Her story reminds us that greatness often begins in the most unlikely places.
It's not our surroundings that define us, but our choices, our perseverance, and our refusal to give up when the odds are stacked high. Amina faced barriers not just of gender and geography, but of expectation. She was told, directly and indirectly, that people like her girls from forgotten villages did not belong in cockpits.
But she rewrote that narrative with every late-night study session,
every dropped coin saved, every application sent,
and every challenge embraced.
She teaches us that dreaming is not naive, it is necessary. Dreams do not fill stomachs, perhaps, but they feed the soul. They are the seeds of progress, the whisper in the wind that tells us we were meant for more. When Amina took her first solo flight,
she did more than fly. She shattered a ceiling.
Not just for herself, but for every girl watching. Every child who ever feared their dream was too strange or too far away.
Her path was not easy. She faced ridicule from her peers,
skepticism from mentors, and prejudice from employers. Yet, instead of bitterness, she chose persistence. Instead of yielding to rejection,
she sought opportunity
wherever it could be found, even in the shadows of harbor plains. She understood something we must all learn, that success is not always instant,
and glory is rarely handed over. It is earned patiently, painfully, and persistently.
And in the end, Amina did not just return to her village as a pilot, she returned as a beacon. She proved that dreams, no matter how distant they seem, are reachable if pursued with discipline, sacrifice, and heart. By taking the hands of the young girls and telling them, "If I can fly, so can you," she planted a legacy that will outlast her own flight paths. So, let this story remind you, the sky is not the limit. Limitation is a lie we unlearn by rising. No matter how small your beginnings, or how loud the world's doubts, your dreams are valid and your wings are real. All that remains is the courage to fly.